Howdy, howdy. Gotta figure out how to hear you. Oh, there we go.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was wonderful, other than that Argentina won and Norway lost. Those are two low moments. But, you can't win them all.
No. Not when the deck looks a little stacked.
Yeah. What can you do? Cry? I've shed zero tears for the World Cup, though, so I'm calling that a win. I can't say the same for my wife, but
she big into the World Cup?
Super big, yeah. She's Brazilian, so it's, I don't know, it's the most important thing to them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's a different thing.
Completely different.
Very different from what we've grown up with.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Do you want to load up your chat?
Yes.
And then share screen.
All right. I don't actually know how to multi-speaker view. I guess it doesn't matter because I'm just going to look at my own screen. I'm going to let you figure out how to. Is it working or no? You can see my screen.
Yep, there we go.
Alrighty. For some reason, I can't see.
Can't see.
In the Zoom, I can't see what so I can make sure that you're seeing what I intend for you to see. But I don't think it matters.
Well, I am seeing a new chat.
Cool.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, you're wanting to kind of see how I do things, but at the same time, you're looking for something that will help you analyze discussions, transcripts that you have with people when you do podcasts, make better questions, those kinds of things is what you're hoping to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're in Google Drive.
I'm only here because I know I'm going to need to pull the documents that you want. So.
Okay. So let's just start right away. So I don't pretend to know anything about ChatGPT. I like to think that ChatGPT is more of an expert than I am. So what I would tell it, and you can start typing this, is I need you to create an operating system for me.
So this is what I have.
I'm seeing countertops. Okay.
This is what I have. These are my notes for my next update, but I've got a Nate Johnson operating system.
Whoa. Okay, so That is a Nate Johnson operating system. This is a different kind of operating system.
Okay.
Yeah. Specifically geared on communication.
Can you repeat that?
It's geared more towards your communication. It's from our conversation. If you want something that's going to help analyze how you speak, your interactions and transcripts with other people on your podcast, how to create better follow-up questions. That's more of a communication model than a Nate Johnson model.
Okay.
Because this is how Nate works, learns, communicates, makes decisions, and creates values. That's very broad. This is, we're narrowing it down to a very specific skill.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let you lead me. Tell me what to do. I'm in chat.
So this might be a little easier. I'm going to settings. So you have your phone for the Zoom, or what are you using for Zoom right now?
My computer.
Okay. And you have it on speaker, right?
I do.
Okay. And do you have a mic or something that can pick up sounds on your computer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to turn that on and I'll talk?
Because you want to talk to my chat GPT. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do it this way.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to talk and see if it's going to. I'm not seeing it input any words or start dictation. There we go. All right, let's see if it can pick up stuff. I'm not seeing anything, but let's just do a test and click that button. Here, do it this way. Okay, so this would be an example of how I would talk to chat. So chat, I'm trying to make a communication operating system. I am interviewing people. I am communicating with people. I take the transcripts from the interviews, the podcast, the different interactions that I do. And I'd like to build an operating system that analyzes those transcripts, maybe organizes the main points into information that's easily accessible to me. I would also like to, after that, have you analyze the conversation and pick out or create areas where I could have asked better questions. My goal is to learn how to be a little more direct, get a little more to the point, but also make sure that I'm giving as much context as possible. I tend to over-explain things, and I tend to give a lot of background and details and context because I believe that's important. But sometimes the point can get lost in doing so. I'm going to use this as an example, Nate, because I think this will be really helpful for the AI. So, for example, I sent someone two videos, 10 minutes long. Instead of doing that, I'd like to share my idea to you, have you analyze what I said and then convert that into like 3 or 4 sentences that captures the point, sends the request, so that I'm maximizing efficiency. I'm really concerned though, because I don't know ChatGPT. I'm not an expert in ChatGPT. So I need you, ChatGPT, to be my expert. I need you to be my architect. I need you to create a master prompt that will create this operating system for me. And this master prompt is not geared towards humans. It's geared explicitly towards machine AI. I'm looking for something that could maybe be given to an agent, AI agent, and they could execute it. Again, this operating system is communication focused. What I'd like you to do is create that master prompt, and if there's information that you need from me, I want you to ask me questions one by one to build that operating system. So come on, Shahia.
I thought you were showing me how to make a GPT.
I am. This is exactly how I made it. Okay, so go to your email. Okay, and then paste. So before you hit enter, so this is how I did it. I tell it this is what I'm hoping to do. This is explicitly some of the issues that I have. Like I will say, Nate, you're very similar to me. You like to give a lot of context and a lot of background, but in doing so, it takes a while to get to the point. And you may lose the point, or you may lose a great question that you could ask someone on your podcast, or you might forget to ask something. So because you want that specific thing, this is created specifically for that. Now there may be something missing from here. There may be another function that you wanted to do. So this format is exactly how I started my ChatGPT. I told it, here's what I want you to do. Here's what I struggle with. Here's my goals. But I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to create a master prompt. I don't know how to create an operating system. I don't know what information you need from me in order to complete this. So, I mean, if you wanted what I did, this is an exact, not word for word, but line by line, this is exactly how I started. So, and given, like I'd say one thing that might be helpful, you tend to, make these videos to send to someone, but what if you could have something that you could talk to ChatGPT and it condenses it down to 3 to 4 sentences? Or, hey, read through this. And it can be, let's add something into there. I would also like you to function as a communication expert advisor. Okay, hit enter. When you're done, I'd like you to scroll up just a little bit. All right there. So all of those things there are, I might tell ChatGPT, well, I don't really want prompts. I want those like to be like documents or different things, but basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what I was looking for when I was building ChatGPT, right? I'm basically trying to build something so that it functions not as a single prompt, right? I'm trying to create a brain, so to speak. And it has all of these different documents that are created. Save those off of ChatGPT because I accidentally deleted mine, so that's a good idea to save them into a single folder. So you've got your communication intelligence thing. So would you say that, how has this captured what you were hoping to do with your podcast analysis? Is it missing anything?
I haven't seen like an end result yet, but this isn't revolutionary, I guess. Like this is exactly what I do.
Well, then maybe this reinforces that you're doing everything the right way.
Yeah. And I guess my only commentary where I think your strengths are different than mine, allowing you to be more effective up front than I am, is I can't always see the end goal at the beginning. And I'm okay with that. And I actually prefer that because usually my end goal that I have in my mind at the beginning, it feathers out into something way better than it started as. Where I think your prompts that you feed into ChatGPT, you go in as though you already know what it is that you're building. And I don't go in knowing what I'm building. I go in just like, hey, here's my problem. I've got this problem and it's just terrible. it's bothering me. It's frustrating me. This is my big problem. And then what I'm doing in ChatGPT is I'm not starting with, hey, this is the solution I want to build. I'm starting with, hey, this is the problem that I'm having. And when I film a little video, it's up to this point. And sometimes my videos are, this is a big problem. And sometimes my videos are, hey, I had this big problem. This is as far as I've gotten with my solution. I'm going to talk out loud and work through it. But I haven't really produced anything on that YouTube channel where I would say like, hey, this is a good thing that I want to teach somebody. Like, if that makes sense. Nothing I've done so far is like customer facing or like, hey, this is I set out to build something and this is what I built. Everything I've done so far is just identifying problems and working on solutions to the problems. So what I'm interested in is if I go everything that's in here, like this would take me a while to go through each and every single point. And like I have it, you can read it down there. Finally, you asked me to ask you one question at a time. Perfect. And like, that's because it knows me. It knows that that's how I need to go through it. And I need to just be able to, exactly like you did, I just go like this and I just talk and I let it understand everything that I'm thinking about, everything. And I would scroll up to the top here and I would just go line by line. Hey, I don't understand what this means. I don't like, that's kind of how
Okay,
I'm using it.
well, let's delete that because we don't want to impact it. Okay. So maybe this AI that we're working on right now will be more beneficial than I thought. Before I lose this thought, can you type this into here? As you know, I am a verbal processor, and I might not always know the end goal or the solution. So keep that in mind. As part of my communication coach, I'm kind of also envisioning your guidance and helping me arrive to the solution swifter by asking me questions that will get me to the goal faster, as opposed to exploring every possible potential solution and avenue. Okay. So I kind of like I said, you're very similar to me in that you're a verbal processor. I am also a verbal processor, much to the chagrin of my wife. And it can take a while for us to figure it out, because it is through the process of talking that we arrive at our solution. Right?
Which is what the whole
The
point of
challenge,
the original idea was, is like, let me just capture that verbal
right,
processing in the conversation.
Right. But the challenge for verbal processors, especially when we're working with people, is they're not verbal processors. You know, they need us to be at the solution stage, to be at the coherent, here's the idea, here's the question, especially when you're doing a podcast, right? So I'll give you an example.
I think I disagree with you. That is the point of the conversation in and of itself. Like you're learning through the conversation. And to a Myron principle, I don't need every single person to accept my offer. I don't need you to accept my podcast episode offer. Like I need like 1 out of 5. I need a 20% conversion rate, because I know a ton of people. Like I talk to 30 people a day at my local coffee shop. And if 20% of those people, well, that's 5 guests on a podcast, and that's too many to film in a month. Like it's just, and with a 1 minute video pitch, the way that I sent it to you, I'm not bothered by my format. I think you're bothered by my format, in which case it's like, well, okay, you just won't be on the podcast. You didn't like it, it's okay. You don't have to like it.
I'd say if you're like, something that may be missing, and you said it is, you're not sure what your end goal is. if you have your format, is your format serving you for your end goal? What is your end goal? Are you trying to educate someone on how to arrive at a solution when they don't have an idea what the end goal is, and you are demonstrating that?
Currently, the end goal is the conversation itself.
For what purpose?
Why do I need a purpose?
Because if you don't know the purpose of the conversation, how are you going to get someone interested to sit down with you to have that conversation, but also to, and I know these questions are making you uncomfortable.
I'm not uncomfortable.
But so if you're trying to say, well, I want you to come on a podcast, why? I want to talk about something. What about? I don't know. Well, okay. What's the topic? I haven't picked one yet. So you're kind of putting up friction between you and your guest, but also you and your listener of where's Nate going with this? If Nate doesn't know where he's going, and I don't know, do I really want to stick around until the end? And and the reason I'm sharing this is like I said, I'm a verbal processor as well, and I have to really put on a different mask when I talk to someone who's not a verbal processor. Right? I have to speak in their language and in their terms. So I think that's why I'm trying to suggest, or like, oh, here's something that might be able to. You don't want it to work with your directionless, unknown purpose. It's like, hey, can you have something that's going to get you to that purpose, that's going to ask you questions, so that before you sit down.
Let me cut you off real quick. I gave you a very clear purpose in the video. Like, I don't think that I didn't communicate it clear enough, but my purpose was very clear. My purpose was, hey, let me watch you use ChatGPT because you've said some things that interest me already, and you just didn't like my pitch. And that's okay. So I let you reformat the pitch to something that you were okay with. And I'm okay with that because I still want to learn how you use ChatGPT. You just presented a different way of teaching me. But honestly, like, if I'm just honest, the way that I pitched it would have been better and more helpful. You didn't like it, and I accept why you didn't like it, because you didn't want to muddy up your own ChatGPT. I get that. No, it totally makes sense to me. I accept that. I tried to say to you, hey, why don't you just hit this little button up here, turn on temporary chat, and then you do whatever you want. Just let me watch you.
So Nate, I have answered your question. It wasn't in the format that you wanted, so you didn't see the answer. That text that I sent you, you watched me verbally record something. I emailed it to you. That's exactly what I did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So I did the method that you're wanting, the media or the medium or the method that you're wanting things in. What if you had it in a different way? Right. So you said, well, Donovan, you didn't answer me. He's like, well, I did. It's right there. That's exactly. Now, if you take out, yours is focused on communication. Mine was put on transformation, the 6 phases of transformation, Myron Golden. I want you to be my Myron Golden advisor, right? And I'm picking this communication operating system, because that was something where you're like, you know what, I wish I could analyze these things, see where I could have asked better questions. So that's it. That's exactly what you asked me for.
Cool.
So that would be, just something I know you have I want to do this video, I want to do this format. What if your learning process or ChatGPT was teaching you how to arrive at your solution, how to arrive at your goal, or to know what you want to talk at quicker, as opposed to taking the hour? Because do people want to watch you arrive at your epiphany, or do people want to learn how to arrive at their own epiphany? And I know you haven't quite figured out your channel yet, and you're still kind of coming up with ideas, and this is kind of your way of like throwing spaghetti up against the wall in a sense to see what sticks.
Not really. I mean, it's not. Yeah, that's not quite it. That's okay.
Okay. So if you were wanting to, I think like you want to do like your Bible walks in the park, right? Where you're out in nature and you're talking about scripture, right?
Uh-huh.
That's different than a podcast, right? Because you're in the spiritual aspect, you can just freeform discuss a spiritual topic. But when you're doing a podcast and you're talking with another person, then that changes things. Right?
Kind of. I mean, what you're trying to say is that when we're talking about the Bible, it can be more free flowing, but when you're having a podcast conversation, it needs to be more structured. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I just kind of disagree with the premise, because I think that they both need enough structure and enough free flowing. Like I wouldn't structure those two things differently. I would have them all in the category of conversation, and they need enough basis for the conversation, because that's kind of what you're saying is like, hey, we need to have a reason to talk. That was what you were saying earlier, that any guest that I would have on a podcast, we need a reason that we are getting together, a topic that we are discussing. We need like you would say a goal. I wouldn't say that we need a goal, but we need there needs to be some basis for this conversation.
Right. And is your podcast flexible enough to allow someone who is a different communicator into your space?
Absolutely. Right now, this is what I can't show you that well because my paper is not going to work out that great, and I don't know how to do anything cool like Myron does it. Right now, the background structure to my podcast up to this point is, I think it's laid out in this first Donovan pitch that I've got going on. It's going to take me too much time for me to actually find it. That's fine. Right now, it's like in my brain, I want to have a quick 30-second pitch video. Hey, I do this podcast and this is kind of what we do in it. And I'm working on the script for that singular video that I don't have to make a specialized one for Donovan, a specialized one for Keith, a specialized one for Nick, a specialized one for Matt, a specialized one for Michelle. Like I don't need to make a specialized one. It's just a general, hey, look, I do this. This is kind of what the goals are, kind of like what you're saying. But instead of it being a sentence, I just would do it in a video. Instead of it being like I would need ChatGPT to help me come up with what that prompt is, but I'm going to film it as a video so I can send that video to people instead of sending them a text, because I like that's already the plan, to get that master prompt.
Yeah. So remember,
secondarily, it would be, I want to, if they agree to that, maybe it's another video that explains the concept a little bit better, or maybe it's just a Google form that I can send to the people where it's like, hey, I would send a personalized one next. Hey, look, this is the things that I know that we've had great conversations about in the past. I'd love to talk about any of those. If you wouldn't mind filling out this quick form, because you're already interested in doing the podcast, you'd be interested to do 5 minutes of work so we can have a really productive conversation. Fill out this form about, based on what our past conversations were, give me a little bit of text so that I can feed that into a ChatGPT, or so that I can feed something into ChatGPT, so then I can take what it is that I create as an outline for our conversation to send back to you and let you cross it. Like, you can redline it before we actually even have the conversation, because then what I've been doing already with my friend Keith, this is what him and I filmed our last thing on. It's my SOP for my modular cabinets, because he's going to be running my modular cabinet division of my company. So we've been talking about lead generation, first response, customer evaluation form. Like, we just have this document sitting in front of us, and we are redlining it and going over it and taking notes on it. We're doing all of that stuff, and that's what this hour-long conversation was. This latest, it's the second latest video, because I read this on camera yesterday. But
okay,
that's what this was. Is I have a document for him and I to go over. We're going over it on camera. I've got going well and for it to all work out. But it's like, I did all of this.
Just a second, Nate. Okay, so I do have to go in a little bit, but I want to actually like make this thing run. So let's do this. Go to our chat. Type in, I also want you to draft for me 4 to 5 sentences as a script that I can use when I send invitational videos to podcast guests.
I also want you to draft for me a 4 to 5 sentence prompt or invitation that I can send out to podcast guests.
Based on, I want, okay. Oh, okay. Well, it's still going through its thing. And then I want you to tell it that I want to give you some scripts and conversations I have so you can understand my speaking style, but I also want you to analyze them and see areas of improvement for reference.
And transcripts from previous videos I've done, and I want you to analyze them and give me some helpful
feedback. But I don't want you to do the analysis right now. I want you just to have that as reference as we're building this operating system.
I don't want to have you do that for me right this second. I just want you to have them as reference for when I have you actually build me the system. Okay, let me ask you a
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
If that's okay. You didn't go through this way.
What's that?
You didn't go to GPTs and have it create you one this way.
No.
Okay. Do you have any like shared chat GPTs, like between you and any other people?
Mm-mm.
And you're afraid of that because you think it'll muddy up your system?
But you can think of it as IP. So, like, again, you're asking for something and I'm demonstrating it live for you. Like, this is exactly how I'm doing it, what I'm doing it. And after I have this build me the system, then I go back to do the questions one by one. And at the end, then you actually have an operating system. You don't have a master prompt. The master prompt is only step one.
And when you say an operating system, that's like a document like this. That's what you mean?
Nope.
Okay. When you say an
Like
operating
that's
system, what does that mean?
something that has the ability to think critically, perform a task based off of, like, I almost created software. Like, so this executive summary, that's just information. That's just database. I was creating something that actually has the capacity to run tasks. So like my real estate operating system, once I get Claude and move it to an agent, it can track my click funnel, and without me asking it, will give me the results that I need. And it's basically like its own, like, it's almost like creating software, like your own program that will do something for you. So what you've created is, you could think of it like as a library, right? Like, this is information about me. Okay, great. What do you want me to do with that information? Well, now every time you have to tell it to do it, or I could say, hey, I want you to do this, right? So you've attached these things. This is who you are. It's read that. Okay, I want to be a better communicator. I want to do this. I want you to be my expert in that. And in creating that operating system, you saw those 12 documents. It's going to create 12 different documents that it's going to use to make decisions and to process things for you, right? So when you come back to it and you say, hey, here's this, I want you to output this, boom, it already knows exactly what to output it in. It already has a format to output it in, and it knows what other accessory documents that you're going to want to create as well. So it's not just knowing you. Like, what you've shown me is, hey, this is information about Nate. Okay. That's just step one, though. The next thing is, I want something that is super smarter than me, that is able to, like, so for example, my Myron Golden thing, it created my entire 40-minute presentation script for me. But it was able to do that because I created an actual, like, an artificial Myron Golden, right? That has all of his teachings, but it also has functionality. Like, I want this to be able to do this. And, so we created basically software. So this is not just, oh, knowing me, I want you to do this. It's like, knowing me, I want to be better at this. I want you to create an operating system that will function to achieve these tasks. Help me craft it. So it's already set to go. All you need to do is update those scripts so it can learn how you talk, and then you're going to So, okay, take me step one, ask me a single question to build this operating system. So again, I don't know how to build it. It did. And I just told it, I don't know how to do it. I want you to be my architect in building it. So that's why I said it took me.
When you go to talk to this thing, where do you go? Where are you going?
Right here.
You're
Like,
just in this singular
I'm
chat.
demonstrating this. This is exactly how I did it in a new chat.
Okay, so if I want to talk to this operating system I create, I have to keep talking in this chat.
Specifically in that chat. Now, see, I didn't know about new GPTs or that I could make something like that. So I'm just keeping everything in one chat.
That's what I thought you knew, because exactly what you've taught me so far is exactly what I do. I've got in my projects, I've got a chat for each of my projects that has all the context built in. It has all of my master documents, which I actually pulled out recently because.
So I didn't know about you could do those new GPTs, whether you do them or not. Like, I'm hoping that this shows you this is how I built the operating system. I told it what I needed it to do.
It built me all of these documents. I've got 20 documents talking about my active jobs list. I've got cabinet ordering checklists, installation systems. So like I've built exactly what you're describing to run my business already.
But can it run your business based on this? Like, can it perform tasks?
Yeah, I can drop my what do you call it? I can drop my plans into that chat, and then it can spit me out prices. It can spit me out first response emails. It can spit me out that's already what I did.
Yeah. I would say you could probably expand it a little more in terms of actually make it do more stuff for you without having to ask for it. But yeah, I would say apply that to your communication coach or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm just demonstrating like that. This is how I did it. Like literally almost word for word, except switch out communication for real estate. And it works. It's pretty functional. But again, this is only like temporary. Like this is my playground until I don't know when we're gonna get our computer, whenever it comes in. So until Claude comes in, this is my playground. So I'm building everything so that I can port it over to Claude or OpenClaw, and then have AI agent that will do stuff without me actually having to think about it.
You should look into this. And I know you won't because you're going to stick with your Claude.
Claude or OpenClaw. And
Yeah.
Partly because I've got someone who specifically
set it up for real estate. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is a nuance of, I would say Myron Golden's AI stuff is probably more suited to you because his is more influencer, coach, educator focused. Whereas
you're still missing it though. I'm not trying to be any of that. I'm literally like the point of what I'm trying to create is I want to learn through conversation with people. Like this, the way that everybody learns through thinking through difficult tasks, but also like pulling from what other people have already discovered. Like I'm trying to have conversations with smart people about difficult things that I don't understand or partially understand. And it's not really at this stage, like, because I want to be an influencer. Like, it's not because of any of that. It's just because like, hey, I need ChatGPT for my business. I want to talk to some smart people who think about ChatGPT. Let me learn that from you. And it's the same thing. Like, ChatGPT is just one thing I'm trying to learn about. I'm trying to learn also about cabinet process. I'm also trying to learn about, hey, child development for my next business venture. Like there's lots of things that I'm trying to learn about. And then the whole purpose of the documentation through video to be able to pull the transcripts is just so that it's documented, that the conversation I had is documented, basically.
Maybe you're more of an archivist.
I'm only becoming that because you taught me that I can pull transcripts from YouTube videos. And I already had an old channel that I was pulling stuff from, and I watched a little bit from Russell about his marketing secrets thing, and he was like, hey, if you've got, put all your emails into it so that it can learn how you communicate. Put all your if you got YouTube stuff, like if you got videos you film, put your transcripts in there so that it can understand you better, so that it can help you with the tasks that so it can capture your voice. Because he was talking about, hey, you know how when you put something into ChatGPT, it spits out this thing that doesn't sound anything like you. And the problem that you're going to reach eventually is, which I reached this problem, and I think that they've amended it a little bit, but I got to the end of what I could do in one singular chat in ChatGPT because I'd fed it so much. I just kept talking to one individual chat. And that's why I had to, that's why I had to build these projects, is because I got to a limit where I couldn't in one individual chat anymore keep messaging it, and it kept popping up with this, you've reached your limit. So I had to keep like cycling through it, and I had it create documents based on everything that it learned about me, but I had to do them one at a time and then refresh it so that it erased the last thing that I asked it so that I could ask it another thing. Because it was like, I just reached the end of it. One individual chat was too limited. So that's why I started to try to create a infrastructure.
Well, I mean, I don't know much more to share other than, you know, I've modeled exactly how I've done it.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I spent less time teaching it about me and letting it entirely guide the process of what it thought needed to be done for an operating system. Like, that would be maybe one advice, is like, go through it without like, hey, I need you to do this. ChatGPT is like, you know what, let's see what it's gonna teach me.
That's what I did at first, and it created these operating systems about me based on, I don't know, hundreds of hours of conversation with it. This wasn't the goal in the beginning.
So my operating system is not a paragraph.
Mine isn't either. It's 14 pages.
Executive summary.
And then I've got the foundation, my core identity, my systems thinker, relationship builder, infrastructure builder, gathering place pattern, visibility principle. When things aren't visible, they're difficult for me to track.
Well, this might give you reference. I've got roughly 400 pages of operating system.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So do I. That's all like.
Right. Why does yours look so different? It could just be personalities too, of like it picked up on our different personalities and the different way we want it structured.
Yeah. What I started doing, because I suspect you haven't read the 400 pages that it wrote for you.
Oh, heck no. Who has time for that?
Of course. That's a great question. But what I did start doing was I started just reading my documents on camera and giving all of my feedback of like, yeah, this isn't really accurate. Like, this is what it pulled out, but this is actually wrong. I wouldn't have actually phrased it that way. I would phrase it differently. And then I use the transcript from me just reading my document to fix the document.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did testing. Like afterwards it'd be like, is this accurate or is this accurate? Actually, it's half of A and none of B.
Yeah.
And here's why. And then it would adjust the documents based on that. But the actual software, though, is not information about me. It's about like.
And just to
how
repeat, you haven't created the software yet. You're waiting for Claude?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is everything that gets ported to it. So most of my documents don't have anything about me. They're actually operating instructions to the future AI agent.
Yeah. What I thought is you were going to show me how to set up the software through this GPTs thing.
No, I only use the chat to make my software, and then again, it's going somewhere else.
I decided not to mess with this until today because I thought this is what you were doing for me.
No. No idea how to use that.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it existed, but now that I do,
Well,
what is G? Yes. GPT models.
There's also this thing
where I
discovered you can schedule stuff.
That's cool.
I don't know what this one is yet. Up here in library, this is like every document I've ever had it create and whatnot. Let me show you.
So Nate, I do have to go. My wife's mentioning that we're running close to when we got to head out. So yeah, sorry, it's not what you anticipated, but I mean that's how I built my thing. I very much depending on system over me.
Yeah, that's how I started too, and then it stopped. Every time I started in a new chat, I had to re-explain everything that was in that first chat, and then
I have not had to do that at all
because you got that 400-page document.
Documents, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So what I set up for you in that new chat, that is how I got it to the point where I don't have to tell it anything anymore. I was like, oh, do you remember this? Or I'm going to give you this backstory content. I have not had to do that ever since I created them.
I'm going to send this to you. I scanned in his whole book today. I would buy it because I think you should give him some of your money, but I already scanned it in. I'm going to email that to you because maybe it's helpful for you in the future, but it's his whole, wherever my backpack is, is this whole book. Good book. I still would like to read it with somebody, and I'm still good if that person is you.
Doing like a little weekly kind of what was your thoughts on chapter 1 kind of a thing?
Yeah. How are you applying it? What have you, that's what I did yesterday with this thing is I read a different book. I read the first chapter of this book, and it's not for anybody because no one's going to watch that. It's for the transcript is really what it's for. So that's how all my videos right now are. It's not for anyone to watch. It's for me to have the transcript of what my thoughts were on some sort of source, whether it's a book or a document or something I've created or something someone else has created for us to go over, whatever it is. So
if I would say hearing one of your comments kind of not concerns me, but it gives me additional information. If you have to remind the chat every time, then there's no operating system.
Well, I don't have to anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. What I was describing is that first thing where I didn't go anywhere else except for this one thread. Eventually, I reached the limit of it, and then whenever I tried to start new things, it was like I was starting from zero again.
Hmm.
So then I went to that other thread and I made it poop out documents for me to be able to create my system, because I didn't go in like you did with like, hey, I need to operate. Like I didn't have my goal in mind when I started it, which is where I said where your competitive advantage over me is like you can see the goal before you start. I can't see the goal before I start.
Well, for fun, continue with where we started and see if that gives an enlightenment in any way.
Perfect. I'm gonna end this so that your wife isn't too mad at me.
All right, Dave. We'll catch up with you later.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.